This is lesson 45, parentheses and the associative property, part 1. This is part 1 of this lesson. So this is my part 1. There will be a part 2 to this lesson that you will have to watch after going through your lesson practice and doing the questions that require work on the parentheses and associative property. The second part of this lesson is going to be naming lines and segments. So let's start off with parentheses. What are they? You've seen me use them in lessons before and probably not name them. They are this. Okay, that is a parentheses. A parentheses do one very important thing. They say, do me first. Okay, that is their entire purpose. A parentheses is something that encapsulates one or two things and says, do me first. So you always do parentheses first. So for example, if you have a question like 12 takeaway, 12 takeaway 4 takeaway 3, the parentheses say, do me first, which means you do this before including the 12. So right now, we're going to ignore the 12, and that is there. We're just going to do 4 takeaway 3. Well, 4 takeaway 3 is 1. Now I do the rest of my subtraction, and I say 12 takeaway 1, which gives me 11. Okay, now depending on where these parentheses are, changes things up a little bit. Okay, so this is what happens when it's here. If the parentheses were here, like this, you're going to get a completely different answer. 12 take away 4 is 8. Take away 3 equals 5. So see, I got 11 and 5. So depending on where your parentheses are, completely changes the answer that you are going to get. Now, depending on what type of question you have, the parentheses might not actually matter all that much. In subtraction, they absolutely matter. Okay, if you are just using addition or subtraction and you're using the same numbers, they don't matter. And that's what the associative property is. So we're going to look at those. So first things to remember, just when we're looking at parentheses again, these say do me first. And in a lot of questions, this matters. So make sure you do that first before continuing with the rest of what you're doing. But if you are working with the associative property is a property that states that if all you're using, and you can only use it with addition and multiplication, by the way, you cannot do this with subtraction or division. If you have all addition or all multiplication and you are using the same digits, doesn't matter where the parentheses are, you will get the same answer. For example, if I have 3 plus 4 plus 5, and I have parentheses 3 plus 4, parentheses plus 5, both of them have just addition. Okay, and both of them are using the digits 3, 4, and 5. Because of that, I'm going to get the same answer each time. Now, remember with the subtraction we just did, this didn't work. So this only works for addition and multiplication. Let's check it just to make sure. 4 add 5, because remember parentheses say do me first. 4 add 5 is 9. 9 add 3 is 12. And then I come down here, 4, 5, 6, 7, because the parentheses say do me first, so I gotta do this part first. So 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 plus 5 is 12. Okay, so because it was all addition and all the same digits, I will get the same answers even though the parentheses are different. And again, this did not work for the subtraction we did earlier. So this will only work with addition and multiplication. It will not work with division or subtraction. So let's look at a multiplication one. A multiplication one could be parentheses 3 times 4 times 2, or 3 times parentheses 4 times 2. Okay, now again, because we are using all multiplication and we are using all the same digits, 3, 4, and 2, the answer will be the same. Okay, now I'm not going to work this one out for you. If you would like to see if I am right, do so now and pause the video. But I can tell you that both of these are going to equal the exact same thing. Okay, and again, the associative property only works for addition and multiplication. Two things must be met for it to work. It must be all the same symbol, okay, either addition or multiplication, and they must all be the same numbers in both, okay? If those two criteria are met, it's going to be the same answers, which means if you're doing comparison questions and you notice you're comparing, for example, these two, you can just right away say they are equal. Just like these two, you can right away say they are equal. Instead of saying one is bigger, one is smaller, or even having to figure it out, you can just instantly say they're equal because they all have the same numbers or digits, and they all have either all multiplication or all addition. That is the associative property. That is lesson 45, parentheses and associative property, part 1. Please go into lesson practice and do the couple of questions that just these come up with, which are A to H, and then, A to I, sorry. A to I is just this one. And then we're going to come back for part 2, which is going to look at J to M.